Hello, everybody. Welcome to take two of Nonprofit Campaign's free live webinar to learn everything you wanted to know about nonprofit fundraising, but were afraid to ask. My name's Rob Webb, and I am your host for the next 90 minutes. Can you guys all hear me? Heads are moving. Good, good, good. Welcome, welcome. We've got 7, 8 people in the room right now. I'm going to wait a moment or two before we start the PowerPoint presentation. Now, yesterday, as you guys all know, I had a bit of a meltdown on the technology side, and it was kind of a trifecta. Couldn't get the PowerPoint presentation to work in Webinar Jam, and so I told everybody, okay, well, let's come over here to Zoom. And then we managed to send an email out to everybody in the universe except for the people that really wanted it. So I appreciate you guys all coming back and doing this again. I am in my studio, which is my lanai here in Maui, Hawaii. That is a Hawaiian wall behind you. And as you can see, I picked another flower for you guys to start over. Yesterday, I asked everybody to introduce themselves, and you had to do it on that little chat thingy. But now we are, since we're live in Zoom, perhaps we can get you guys to introduce yourselves, if you would like, over the camera, or if you would prefer just audio. And there is a chat feature down here still. And so if I see Jim Lewis, my gosh, a CFRE from many years in the past. How are you, Jim? You're muted there, by the way.
Yeah. Hey, how you doing, Rob? Long time no see.
Long time no see. We go back.
Finally catching up with one of your webinars.
And good. God bless you.
Want me to give a mini bio? You want me a mini bio or what?
Yeah, well, I know I can introduce you pretty well, in fact, because you were
I think you can.
Yeah, you were the executive director of the Long Beach Rescue Mission. And those of you who know me, I hailed from Long Beach for many years. And you got your CFRE about the time I did, about 20 years ago, something like that. And I let mine expire. I think now they have a thing you could put it on ice, but at the time I couldn't get the continuing education units. And now 20 years later, I'm offering them.
I'm looking at possibly putting on ice because, again, I mean, unless you have enough consulting and to fill out all the numbers they have, but they do have enough options to be on. Trying to remember the term, but on ice, like you said.
Yep.
So, but yeah, before Long Beach, I was Coachella Valley Rescue Mission, and most of my consulting has been rescue missions and other faith-based, although I've actually done business, small business, and that kind of thing. So good to see you, Rob. I'm hoping to get on more of your things now that I've been recalled as the president of our HOA. So
all right,
I have more free time.
That sounds like a whole nother Zoom meeting. Heather Yvonne is up there. Heather, I know, and I can introduce you well because you were a participant in our last 6-week masterclass to propel your fundraising forward. And you're in Tucson, Arizona, and you are the founder, executive director, chief bottle washer at the Chance for Success street newspaper for and by the homeless. Welcome, Heather. Good to see you again.
Yep.
And I also see Dr. Frank here, or Uncle Frank, as we call him sometimes in these trainings, who is a longtime a linguist, got his PhD from the Peter Drucker Institute. And how am I doing? Am I a consultant for many years in nonprofits as well, and appears on our show from time to time to talk about how to write compelling written word, right? Oh, you're also muted there, Frank. Everybody's muted coming in just in case.
Yep, you're right. Thank you.
All right. I'm going to go around to some of the folks I don't know in here. Nancy, I see up at the top. If you'd like to introduce yourself, Nancy, go right ahead.
I'm on the board of a women's rights information center. It helps struggling people in our community who need help to become economically, emotionally, and self-sufficient on every level.
Well,
So
that is
we're
very
been
important. Where are you
around for about
located?
45 years, and I'm on the board.
Oh, very good. Now, where are you located?
Englewood, New Jersey.
Inglewood, New Jersey. I remember that now because I was typing you into our constant contact yesterday. So now you guys are all on the list. I'm going to move down to Trey. I think it is. I could just see your face. I don't know if you want to jump in. Oh, there you are. Hi. Did I catch your name right?
Yes, Trey is perfect. So I have recently joined the board of a foundation near Phoenix, Arizona. And what we do is we affect and hopefully positively transform the lives of youth, young children, as well as adolescents by establishing music education programs. So most recently, the Afghan refugees that have been locating different areas around the country, they have sent a few groups to the Phoenix area, and we are working with them.
Very good. And you are and Heather's in Tucson. You're working with the folks in so you're in Phoenix?
Yes, just west of Phoenix.
Just okay. How many miles are you guys apart?
What do you think? I'm actually in Litchfield Park, so where would that be for distance? I'm not sure.
Distance.
Maybe an hour.
Yeah, very good. I want to get out. I am looking so forward to getting out and traveling and meeting all our clients and friends all over the world. But it's during the pandemic, I got to say, being in Maui was been a pretty much a blessing.
And I'm not sure I mentioned the name of our program. It's the Shropshire Music Foundation.
Very good. Very good. And I'm a music lover and used to be an FM radio DJ. So that's very cool.
Wonderful.
All right, we're going to move over to Erin, who is still muted, but has put her camera on. So she's ready to go. Introduce yourself. Welcome, Erin, to the team.
Hi, and I may have to drop early, but I wanted to join and get what I could. So my name is Erin Begneski. I am a volunteer executive director for a nonprofit called Africa Strong, focused on improving educational outcomes in sub-Saharan Africa, specifically in Uganda and Zambia. I am based in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Let's see what else. I don't have a background in nonprofit. I have background in corporate America, left my job about 5 years ago, spent some time in Uganda and Zambia, and recently finished my master's and seeing what I can do with that.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you, Erin. And I got to tell you, we do have people in our, we have a Facebook group called Nonprofit Campaigns Community Inspiring Fundraising Success. We'll invite you all to join. And there are a lot of nonprofits in Africa that are sending and asking me for help. And I'm not sure how we can help them. And we would love to do that. And so we can connect with you and you can teach me a little bit on there. Natasha just joined, and Josephine, I'm letting in the room right now. Natasha, would you like to introduce yourself? And you're on mute right now, but we'd love to hear about you and your nonprofit and where you're from.
Yes, hi, my name is Natasha Wilson. I'm from North Virginia, where we feed, we clothe, and we educate. We operate a food pantry, and so we serve the vulnerable communities here in the Hampton Roads, Virginia area.
And I called you Natasha. My apologies. It's Natisha.
Yes.
Okay, I'll get that right sooner or later. And so welcome. And you're in what? Where are you located again?
We're in Virginia.
In Virginia. Okay. Do
Yeah.
you have a street newspaper in Virginia? Like they're trying to, like Heather is shaking her head. Yes, you guys do have a street newspaper for and by the homeless, and that's what she's starting in Tucson. All right.
Okay.
We got one more person that just joined the room, and then we're going to get started here in a little bit. Josephine, I see you there. If you'd like to unmute and or put your camera on and say hello, you can. If not, you can remain anonymous down there. And we'll continue on. But if you'd like to do that, just jump in there and say hi. And you can also do it via the chat, right? I got a chat. Jim Lewis is eating right now, so that's why I guess Uncle Jum decided there with that big cowboy hat decided that he is put himself on autopilot. I'm going to get ready and start a screen share of what we tried to do yesterday. We had and I know we had a whole bunch of people that were supposed to be in this thing, and I think it's kind of cool that we have an intimate little group right now. It's kind of like right now it's like the Brady Bunch, and I can look down at Trey and she could look up at me and point, and you got all the heads here. Might be like the Hollywood squares of fundraising. I don't know, but in any event, we will come forward and move forward. If any of you, we got this intimate group. If any of you have questions, please feel free to ask them. Don't bother raising your hand. Just chime in there and answer the questions. We have a small intimate group, and I think this is pretty cool. I just hit screen share, and thank you, God. The PowerPoint presentation is there. Can you guys see it? I'm seeing heads move. Okay, you guys see it. Now, hopefully we can arrange this, the little talking head thing in a way that will allow us to, tell you what, I'm just gonna move it down there just a little bit so I can't really see you guys. If you need to talk, go ahead and talk. It was blocking my screen. I want to be able to do this without and be able to read what it is I wrote. Okay, this is our free live webinar, October 27th, and it is now October 28th, same time, same place, same bat channel. We're doing it again, and I want to welcome you all to Fundraising University at Nonprofit Campaigns, which is a new program that we launched a little while ago. To offer a lot new training opportunities for nonprofits all over the place via Zoom that is interactive and fun. And a little bit about nonprofit campaigns. This nonprofit campaigns was created during the pandemic because I was a one-on-one nonprofit fundraising consultant that would parachute in to nonprofit organizations with my 6-shooter on and be that, and talk to the board in person and all that stuff. We couldn't do that anymore during the pandemic. And so we created nonprofit campaigns to offer exceptional online training courses for you guys at affordable costs. We've done that, and they're on our website at nonprofitcampaigns.com. We want to connect, of course, our nonprofit professionals with a community that can ask questions and actually offer advice that is good and sound advice. We've got that community up and running on Facebook, and we also provide expert consulting services, those one-on-one consulting services we talked about. Now we're getting better at doing it at Zoom, although it wouldn't look like it if you were here yesterday. This is our team, and together we have about 150 years of experience in nonprofit fundraising and board development. And Mark, my son and president of the corporation, is only 30 years old. So that means the rest of us have been doing this for a long time. Linda Lysakowski, ACFRE, is a trainer and contributor to our organization, and she usually is on here doing this with me, so it's not just me being a talking head. There's other heads that can talk, and of course Danya, my ex-wife, is in Idaho, Boise, Idaho, and is available for consulting. She loves doing grant writing. Mark, my son, graduated from Long Beach State, went on to UCLA to get a certificate in nonprofit fundraising at UCLA. One of my mentors founded that program at UCLA many years ago. Danya's got her master's degree in philanthropy and fund development from Bay Path College. And Danya always comments that some of the stuff that we're training here, they just don't teach at universities. Linda teaches it in her courses. We've been teaching it for years. It's just someday I know Danya would love to go teach this stuff we're teaching at the university level. Here's a little bit more about Linda. We talked about CFRE, which is Certified Fundraising Executive. She is an ACFRE, Advanced Certified Fundraising Executive. There's not many of those people in the United States. We're really honored to have her on the team. If you go to our website, nonprofitcampaigns.com, Linda has 11 online training courses now, and I think it totals 59 CFRE continuing education credit hours, starting at only $99. And Linda and I do proposals and do consulting together as well as individually. And so, yes, there you go. Linda gets around. There's Auntie Linda with Bishop Desmond Tutu. For those of you wondering why I'm calling Auntie Linda and Uncle Frank here in Hawaii, that is a term of deep respect. Robert Russo is asking to come in. So aloha, Robert, you are in the room. And yeah, for your elders, that's a deep respect. And there's not too many people I can call auntie and uncle anymore. I'm the uncle now. And so I like to do that. Okay, we're going to go to this next slide, I hope. Maybe not. There is a week ago or two, so I was doing a training and I said, I'm going to need a new computer soon, because this one's about 4 years old, and you got to be careful what you put out to the universe, because now my computer's been acting up since yesterday. Okay, this is excuse me, I'm laughing. This is a slide that my son Mark created and of me filming our very first online training course. That's me holding the manual right there. Since I'm in Hawaii, whatever I'm dressed up from the waist up is what it is. But down below, I'm always wearing shorts and what we call slippas here in Hawaii. And that is our studio that we use sometimes at King's Cathedral Church, my church. They actually gave me that teleprompter. You can see the computer there was my teleprompter. And I guess I was just like Ron Burgundy, whatever you would put on the teleprompter, I would read. Now I'm trying to do this without a teleprompter. It's a lot more fun. Okay, here is our kind of our buzzword at Nonprofit Campaigns. We create high impact fundraising campaigns. And so in case you don't want to go to the Webster's Dictionary to find out what a high impact campaign is, there is your definition. This is the very first online training course we created right after the pandemic began, and we realized this isn't, it's not gonna just be a 6-week break. This is our intro to high impact campaigns, and it's a guide to prepare for success. It's a 2-hour video based lesson with 50-page guidebook, 1.5 CFRE hours. And that was the first course that we taught. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about what we call a high impact annual community support campaign in a minute. All of our training courses, except for this webinar today, is our CFRE approved. And that says 2021. It's time for us to get a new 2022 sticker pretty soon. And this is our latest next masterclass that we're doing, calling Propel Your Fundraising Forward, 6-week masterclass. We're going to tell you all about it here today, as well as teach you a lot of very cool things that come out of this course. And this starts November 3rd, goes through December 15th with a week off of Thanksgiving. You can register at our website, nonprofitcampaigns.com, get all the information. These are 6 90-minute 90-minute courses every Wednesday, interactive like this on Zoom. Try to keep this interactive at least. And we'll tell you more about this class later. All right, I'm going to get back into this. I'm going to stop the share here for just a second and ask you guys if there are any questions at this point. Just thought I'd come up, see if you're all having fun yet. All right, we will move on to the next slide and we'll continue. And as I said, go ahead and ask if you have any questions. We had, let's see, we had a new person join us, but I don't see him in the room right there. So I was going to ask him to introduce himself. And since I can't see him, we're just going to move forward and continue on. We want to go to the current slide. Let's see if it knows what my current slide was. No? All right. So do I look like a baby boomer fumbling around with this newfangled stuff that I don't understand. All right, okay. I guess no need to answer that question. So we're going to first teach you guys what the 80-20 rule of fundraising. Actually, there's two 80-20 rules of fundraising. Does anybody know what they are? I guess not, but that gave me an opportunity to have a sip of coffee. So I'm going to move on. All right. First 80-20 rule of fundraising is 80% of your funds raised will come from 20% of your donors. Pretty standard with that 80-20 rule. Unfortunately, many nonprofits focus 80% on their effort on where the 20% comes from and 20% on the effort and where the 80% come from, if that makes any sense. There is the slide that I just said. And we'll move on here to the next. This is the analysis of giving. I need to change this slide just a little bit because it's old information. It says 427 million in 2016. I think that's more closer to newer numbers. Don't look at them. Don't do the math, but look at the pie chart. And this is a slide that came from Giving USA. I need to update it to, and we'll talk a little bit about 2020 numbers in a minute from Giving USA. 72% it says comes from individuals, but the fastest growing area of contributed dollars in the United States everywhere is right now is bequests. And there are trillions of dollars that are waiting to be handed down in the next 10 years. So if you take that 8% bequests, which is the fastest growing, and you add it to the 72% individuals, you have about 80% of your funding coming from individuals. Foundations and corporations, corporate sponsorships make up about 20%. Now, I'm here to tell you, and during the pandemic, they're giving of that 80% from those individuals, whether the percentages didn't change a whole lot there. Their giving went up in 2020 during the pandemic. They gave more money than in 2019. Foundations, which make up about 15%, and we all write grants and jump through a lot of fire hoops to get those grants, makes up about 15%. And God bless them, they have were able to increase that their giving in 2020 based on the fact that mainly because the stock market did good. Most of these foundations have a principal endowment, and they are giving away the interest. We'll talk more about foundation giving a little bit. A lot of things that were interesting about during the pandemic and foundations. And for the most part, these foundations really reacted to support nonprofits well. They kind of lessened a lot of the fire hoops to jump through and program meeting requirements and all the stuff that they usually ask for, because they knew everybody was struggling. And I think what we found after that is foundations are going to be able to say, hey, man, we can trust these nonprofits to do the right thing, and we don't have to burden them and kill them with a lot of this recording requirements. Corporation giving is not expected as expected in 2020, went down. Corporations made less money. When you talk about corporate giving, I usually consider the big companies like Pepsi or Hawaiian Airlines here in Hawaii or something like that. They are not getting a tax write-off when they give money. It is coming out of their advertising budget. And so that is corporate sponsorships. They want to see a return on investment in some advertising and goodwill for their corporations. That's what they're looking, and what motivates them to give money. And some are very altruistic and want to as well, do the right thing and help. There's a term out there, buzzword, cause-related marketing, that has been out there for a long time. And once again, many nonprofits are focusing 80% of their time on foundations and corporations, and about 20% on their time on individuals. And that is a sin that we hope to correct. And I'm going to take a little break right there because I've been talking. Any questions on this stuff that we're talking about right now? We all good? All right, just checking. Okay, I'm going to come back into this PowerPoint. Oops, are we sharing? Oh, I got to hit the share button, huh? My bad. All right, we'll come back out here. Come back to see you guys. I mean, I'm going to really need a teenage assistant, I think, to do this stuff. Here, I'm living up to that. All right, so we're going to hit share. We got that. Sicket, share. We're going to come back to this slide. I was expecting questions on that one. As we go to this next, let's see, from current slide. Come on, baby. There you go. As you can see, there's a lot of directions we should go. And that is what we are here for in nonprofit campaigns, to guide you on this journey to fundraising success. When you look at this pyramid of giving, this is for individuals. So this has nothing to do with the the writing grants and going after those corporate givers. This is what we call the pyramid of giving for individuals. And there is now, obviously, we start at the bottom in the red, and there's all kinds of ways that people can become members of this pyramid, right? We have our online giving, and we're giving out I'm gonna move my little thingy came up here. Whoopsie, back. I can't see the bottom of my slide, so tell me what's next. Social media giving, I believe, is what's next on this thing. And that has definitely grown over the years. Direct mail campaigns. I'm here to tell you, direct mail is not dead. There are a lot of us that still like to see direct mail and read it. And typically speaking, those that give regularly to direct mail read every word in the thing and go through that. And it's typically those of us that have gray hair that are the ones that are still involved in that. Now, these are all what I call passive levels of giving. And the goal in our high impact campaigns is to get donors out of those passive levels of giving and get them into some more active levels of giving. So a benefit or a special event. Now those can be, and those are a little bit more active, right? People are in front of us and we have time to spend time with these people. Now, I'm here to tell you that benefits and special events, Linda teaches a course I'll talk about in a minute called the 12-step cure to special event addiction. A lot of nonprofits are doing too many special events that are burning out their volunteers. They're getting the folks that are attending these events get burnout as well. And if you look at the dollars raised versus the time spent from staff and volunteers to create special events and the expenses you have, especially if it's an in-person and we're giving everybody a steak dinner or a rubber chicken or something along that line, these special events maybe are not the most cost-effective return on investment of your time than you think. There's a lot of examples of what we would think is real good special events that raised money. If you look at the time that was into it, you could take a donor out to lunch and ask them for a major gift and save an awful lot of time and raise about the same amount of money. So are special events bad? No, I think we shouldn't be doing more than 1 or 2 special events a year. Special events are friend raisers. They are not fundraisers in most cases. Yeah, they may raise money, but special events are friend raisers. They bring new people into the door, and it's what we do with them to involve them and in this pyramid of giving that is important. Now, the next level is what we call the high impact annual campaign, and that is a volunteer-led, staffed managed annual community support campaign where we're getting our board members involved, we're getting our volunteers involved, our staff is involved, and we go out and tell our story in the community to why we as individuals support the organization, and ask others to join us at that level of giving. It is just simple as that. That is really the key to annual giving from individuals and developing major gifts. And this is something that is absolutely imperative if you're ever going to do a capital campaign down the road, or a special giving campaign that is going to go above and beyond your annual giving. And this is what we specialize here at Nonprofit Campaigns, is creating these high impact annual community support campaigns. As you move up into the middle of the pyramid, we have, our major gifts, and because we've been now, we've taken those people out of direct mail and social media giving and online giving, and our friends that we've met at our special events, and we've developed a relationship with them during this annual support campaign. And so now we're going to focus on major gifts. And this is where we move up the ladder and conduct an annual, a capital or a special giving campaign of some kind. These are, if you look at the most successful nonprofit organizations in the United States, they are either planning or in the middle of it executing or wrapping up some kind of a capital or special giving campaign. Why? Because we got to do this from time to time just to exercise those muscles. And your muscles will go dormant if you don't exercise. And so this is a real important thing. Endowment campaigns, perhaps maybe this should go up into the yellow at the top, which is really our goal for all of our individual donors, to have them name your organization in their planned giving bequests. They're all going to pass away and give the money to somebody. And some people creep out on this a little bit. Death is something that all of us I guarantee every one of us are going to go through, but nobody likes to talk about. Whew, I'm going to take a breath. Any questions out there? You guys still with me? I'm going to come check on you now. All right. I'm looking to see how many, do we lose anybody yet? A couple people. All right. Are you enjoying this, Trey? I see you and Nancy, you guys are getting any questions there yet? All right. All right. I'm going to continue on. Are you ready? Hang on tight. Here we go. Let's see. PowerPoint. Bam. Share. And uh-oh, what happened? All right, guys. You guys are going to have to assign me a teenager to help do this stuff, because for some reason, every time. All right, I got two PowerPoints open. We're going to go to just this one. Oop, there it is. Okay, we're going to go to this slide, pyramid of giving from current. You can all tell the story of watching Rob be the baby boomer fumbling with this newfangled technology stuff, as I said in the email we sent out earlier.
Well, some of us are baby boomers get it, and some do not.
Well, I get it. Was that Frank? Was that Uncle Frank? Okay, or was that I don't know which other baby boomer made that comment. I don't have I can't see you guys right now. I totally sort of get it, but it is definitely a computer thing. I keep hitting this button for it to advance. I thought I took out the bugs in the computer yesterday. I am the technology department, so maybe that was the problem. We had a plugin that that was corrupt. It was a Camtessa plugin, and we have now removed and arrested the corrupt plugin. As I said before, we do have a training course online. I think it's online. I've got a couple more we need to add that we're short on our website, but it is the 12-step cure to special event addiction. You're going to get most of that stuff in this course as we go on. The other thing we talked about in here is a development plan. And why do we need to create a development plan? And as a consultant, I've been this guy that has been hired to create a development plan. This is years and years ago, and I would sit down and we'd come up and we'd meet everybody, and we create up this really fancy, nice, long, bound on paper development plan, and they would say thank you, and they'd put it on the shelf. In fact, I talked to a client yesterday that the board chair recently said, they brought out the strategic plan that was done for the new board chair, and the board chair looked at it and says, yeah, we're not going to do that stuff. It is important to have a development plan or a fundraising plan, and it doesn't have to be complicated and expensive. It could be a couple of pieces of paper, but it's basically going to talk about what it is that your organization is doing throughout the year. And there should be a game plan in mind. Now, when you sit down in your board meetings, how often do you have, and please feel free to answer this question and interact with me if you like. How many times do you sit down and you have a board member come up and say, oh, the Boys and Girls Club just did this golf tournament last week and they raised all this money and everybody was excited and we're going to do a golf tournament. And you look at your development plan and now you can at least look at the board member and say, okay, well, we have this development plan that we all agreed that we're going to do, and that we're going to follow this structure, and we're going to have a game plan in place. And what would you like us to take off of this development plan so we can do this golf tournament? And I'm not against golf tournaments, right? But there are, every golf course in America has got a golf tournament planned. And I can guarantee you that a lot of the golfers in your golf tournament are there because their buddy asked them to play golf. They want to go golf. They have no idea about your organization. They really, it's hard to connect with these people. And it's not like, okay, you golfed in my thing and I'm going to, yes, we can develop relationships with these people. I do have one great example. I heard of a golf tournament. I was Linda Lysakowski that had a client that did this, and she was talking about it one time. And it was a developmentally disabled organization that had a golf tournament. And instead of foursomes, they were sending out threesomes with one of their program participants in each foursome. And so now the three golfers are bonding with and teaching this developmentally disabled program participant how to play golf and go out and play 18 holes. Now, there is a outstanding way to implement your mission in a golf tournament, probably the best I've ever heard. Now, obviously, we all have a dinner at the end of the golf cart and tournament, and we have things that we give away, and we auction off, condos here on Maui. You can stay for a week or whatever you can get in a raffle and do all that stuff. That is important, but how many of those golfers actually stick around and go to that dinner and participate in that? I got to tell you, in my experience, most of them just get done golfing and leave. Any comments on that?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I'm raising my hand.
Well, and I can't see your hand. I'm sorry there.
One alternative is when you have a donor or board member who wants to do something, let them do it. Let them underwrite it or seek underwriting, and
let them find the staff and underwrite and pay for it. And
oh yeah, we had. You have a time for a short story?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
We had a friend of the mission, a supporter, bring a friend of hers on a tour of Coachella Valley Rescue Mission, the original one, where we had men, women, and children in less than a quarter of an acre. And we end the tours going through the women and family shelter. And she came out of that with tears in her eyes, saying, or teared up and said, we need to get them a new building. We just happened to be looking at the 7 acres, almost 8 acres next door, but it was $750,000. Well, this lady was a businesswoman on the El Paseo, which is the Rodeo Drive of the desert. And she paid for it. She underwrote it, probably about $100,000 over 3 years. She had a friend with a private jet fly-in restaurateurs, chefs, and vintners. and she turned her art gallery, had a whole new display in the art gallery brought in, and we had an art, food, and wine called a wine fest. Over 3 years, she raised over, alone, raised over $700,000. And we just needed the last $50,000. And the first, I mean, this is a high end. She was definitely high end. And if you find a donor like this, or even a non-donor, be open. Yeah, be open to this. And she wasn't a believer. She's spiritual, but
yeah, this is a faith-based
but she saw the need,
and
you saw the
can
need,
involve everybody.
and yeah, I mean, the first year, Clint Eastwood was there, and a couple others were, you know, bigwigs, high-end auction items. So don't just say no. Say, well, that sounds like a great idea. Can you put it on? Can you do it? And maybe a group of golfers will get together and do it. So
yeah,
yeah,
that's just my point, I guess, with all this. Thank you, Jim, for that story. Is we have a lot of boards. One of the questions I asked, I should have asked everybody here, is, you know, who here in this room feels like fundraising is drudgery? And go like this if you feel that's drudgery, because and we're going to talk about that a little bit. Also, who here in this room has a board that pretty much expects staff to do all the fundraising and really, you know, maybe not be as involved in that? Hands if you'd like. And that's where I come up with these things for. It gives that executive director and board chair an opportunity to say, we got a plan. We got to move forward. If we come up with great ideas, great. Let's figure out how we're going to do that. Do we remove something from this plan? Or you, Jim, are you going to just take on this thing altogether and fund it and go off and yeah, right. That's the question. And oh, I see a kitty. Trey's got the kitty. Heather and I are laughing right now because our last master class, one of our participants had a kitty that kept putting her butt in the face and the camera every time we had a session, and it was it was classic. Let's see, I had a chat here. What is that? Can we read that chat? Something about I have to leave, but I already learned a few. Thank you. Will this be recorded? Yes, we are recording this. I hope all of you agreed to that at the beginning. If any of you have a problem with that, let me know, and we'll be sending it out to participants. And thank you, Aaron. I will miss you here, but we'll talk about let everybody know we miss Aaron. We'll look forward to seeing her on the replay. All right. Any other questions or comments or chats before we move on? All right, here we go. Get back to this slide and we will continue on. Come on, from current slide, thank you. All right, let's talk about the difference between a culture of charity and a culture of philanthropy. This is a key thing we teach here at Nonprofit Campaigns. And everybody hears, oh, yeah, we got to develop this culture of philanthropy. And you know, it's a lot of, that's the buzzword now, right? Oh, Uncle Frank's back. Okay, let's let Uncle Frank back in. Here he was in the way. We must have lost Uncle Frank somewhere in there, but he's back. So the difference between a culture of charity and a culture of philanthropy, what does that really mean? Means your slide is not gonna. Okay, kids, I'm hitting the next button. Up. All right, did we get it? There it goes, finally. A nonprofit with a culture of charity views donations as a transaction. They passively receive gifts and focus on short-term growth. And remember when we were talking about that pyramid of giving, and you had those passive levels of giving down at the bottom, your direct mail and your online giving and your social media giving. And really what nonprofits with a culture of philanthropy, what we're focused on is developing relationships and taking long-term societal needs and what is long-term best for the donor not necessarily let's get the biggest gift we can right now out of that donor, if that makes any sense. My pledge that I say, ask not what your donors can do for you, but what you can do for your donors. Your donors don't serve you, your organization serves them. They want to enact change, but can't do it on their own. It's through your work they get meaningful satisfaction from their gift. And it's important that everybody in your organization understands this culture of philanthropy. We are all responsible for upholding it. That's everybody from the CEO in the organization to the person that washes the toilets. In some case, that's the same person. Excuse me. The next and also in your volunteers, right? Everybody from the board chair's got to get this, right? And the board chair's got to be the one that is oozing this enthusiasm for the culture of philanthropy to the board members, and of course the executive director or CEO right alongside that. A recent survey from Underdeveloped think tank out there found that 41% of development directors felt their organization did not have a culture of philanthropy. And it's interesting to note that 50% of larger nonprofits in this study felt they did not have a culture of philanthropy, compared to 30% of the smaller counterparts. So some of these smaller nonprofits felt like they were doing a better job of developing that culture of philanthropy than the big boys. And who do we call the big boys? Red Cross, YMCA, Salvation Army, United Way. You guys get the idea. Those are the big boys that are out there. The study also pointed out that 18% of the executive directors surveyed dislike asking potential donors for money. Now, that's kind of the scary part here is 14% of development directors disliked that task. Now, I'm here to tell you that I think it's more than 14% and 18%, but those were the people that admitted this in the survey. I'm finding that a lot of nonprofits look at fundraising as drudgery. Oh, by the way, this is a cartoon we have that this is the executive director and the board chair after they just tell the whole board of directors that they have announced that we have a new policy here and we are going to have a culture of philanthropy and you will all give a gift and you will all ask others to give. And I'm here to tell you, yes, I've been in this board meeting before. I have learned that there's a kinder, gentler way to develop the culture of philanthropy than the autocratic way of standing up and saying that this is what we will do. There's an old joke amongst our industry of nonprofit fundraising consultants that the board chair stands up and makes the announcement. We're going to develop a culture of philanthropy and we're going to put this community support campaign together. We're all going to give and ask others to give. And half the board gets up, walks out of the room, and then the board chair can look and say, okay, whoever's left, let's ready and move forward. And I got to tell you, sometimes that's not a bad thing. Sometimes we may need to fire the whole board and start over. All right. Here is a very sad survey for us. I forget who did this survey. Does it say in here? The average length of stay for a development director is about 18 months on the job. That was a couple of years ago. I believe it is less than that now. And yes, it takes about a year and a half, right, to become effective in the position of being a development director. This should be a huge red flag for all of us. It has serious implications for nonprofits that are spending a lot of money to recruit and train these people to have them take off. It is one of the reasons that we, as the more advanced people in this industry and the CEOs and the advancement officers, we need to take care of our staff. Board chairs need to think about how they can take care of the CEO or the executive director. Nonprofit burnout is a huge thing. Many of us wear this badge of honor that, you know, we work way too many hours and we're underpaid. There's nothing wrong with paying a staff member what they're worth. I'm not saying that they're you know, buying helicopters and flying private jets, right? But paying a decent wage and looking out for their well-being. I preach this everywhere I go. This is a huge thing that we all have a responsibility to make sure our staff members are taken care of and stick around on this job. By the way, and that's one of the reasons that during our community support campaign, we teach nonprofits how to do on their annual community support campaign. We want volunteers to be the ones that are asking for the gift. Now, does that mean staff's not involved? Absolutely not. Staff can be there on every, and should be there if they're available for every meeting that a campaigner has when they solicit a potential donor. But most of the time, those volunteers are going to be around for years. And I can tell you, Jim and I and Frank, we've seen boards where the volunteers have been around. Maybe they rotate on and off the board a couple of times and they take various jobs, 30, 40, 50 years. I was a YMCA professional for many years. We go to those meetings and people are standing up getting their 50 and 60 year pin of how long they've been volunteering for the YMCA. Though it's important for the donor to have a connection with that volunteer that's going to be around forever, as well as a connection with that staff person. But why would we want their only connection to be with a staff person that might be on the job 18 months? Feel free to answer that if anybody has. All right. How much time should a nonprofit executive director spend on board development and fundraising? Does anybody want to jump in there on this one? Oops. No, nobody's going to jump in.
But well, two things. One, depending upon what staff he or she has, it could be up to 50%.
I think it should
if
be
they
a
have
minimum
the
of
staff,
50%.
it could be 25 or 30%. And an ancillary question is, which is very interesting to research, how much percentage of time do executive director CEOs report on the 990?
Oh, interesting.
And some CEOs don't do anything but program, according to the 990s.
Yeah. Yeah, that's an interesting. I never even thought about it on the reporting side of things. And keep in mind, I'm always going to shoot high and train high and aim goals high, because we know people are going to fall short a little somewhere in there. But typically, I like to say that a nonprofit executive director, CEO should be spending at least 50% of their time working on board development and fundraising. It's a year-round job. And for them to do that, it means that we've got to raise money and we've got to hire good people to run programs. And it's hard to be the Lone Ranger doing all this stuff by yourself. I've been there, done that, know it. I'm now the Lone Ranger kind of again. I got my son in California helping me with Canva things and sending out those emails. But for you founders, I get it. It is a tough job. But there is got to be light at the end of the tunnel. That's not a train. And we've got to come up with a plan that is going to come up with the funding to be able to hire people so we can focus on what's important and growing the organization. All right, let's see what's next. Look at that. There is a slide where Linda and I did recently. And that's part of our 6-week fundraising masterclass we're talking about. She did the part where it's called Building a 5-Star Board. I did the part called The Role of Your Board of Directors in Your Fundraising Campaign. And it is, I mean, having a culture of philanthropy and having a strong board of directors has got to be the two, I think, most important things that nonprofit founders, directors, everybody should be focusing on. What is the role of your board of directors? Well, I got a lot of them here. Apparently, this is a slide that I kind of could have made a. This is going to be a great handout. I'm going to email you guys all the slides, right? So you can have this later and pin it up on your wall, and I'll talk long enough that you have time to read it. They should be involved and active and ready to serve wherever needed. And yes, they should represent the diversity of the community. Now, I see some nonprofits get so focused on diversity that they're not focused on some of the other things. It's a balance, right? We need to be board development is we need to focus on all these things, not necessarily one more than the other. They are competent, concerned, and willing to serve your organization and attend board meetings and participate in committees, and of course the fundraising campaign that we do at the year. They are willing to give of their time, talent, and treasure. That means time, obviously, is time is the most important valuable commodity we have. I can't replace my time, but I can replace my money if I lose it. Yes, that's happened a couple times. And of course, we all have different talents that we can give. There are some people that are very good at leadership, and and for the committees and the board chair. There's some people that are very good at just going out and loading stuff in the truck and taking it to the special events and doing things like that and helping the program participants. We need lawyers. We need CPAs. We really need those wealth advisors in the community that are advising all the citizens of your community how to where they should be investing in their money. Those folks are very important. Your banker needs to be involved, and I mean, we can keep going, right? There's all kinds of talent that we need to the organization. Now, I'm going to say two things here on time, talent, and treasure before I forget. And one is the 3 G's. Anybody heard the 3 G's of fundraising? Give, what is it? Give gifts, get gifts, or get off. Talk about developing a culture of charity and reducing this to it's really a horrible statement. I hate hearing people talk about the 3 G's. There is a much more sophisticated way. Yes, we want everybody to give their time, talent, and treasure. We want everybody to give a gift and ask others to give. And but good Lord, we can put it better than that. So I don't like the 3 G's. The other thing is I hate to see boards set minimum giving levels. And once again, these are the board chair stands up and he says, okay, minimum is $1,000. Everybody get out your checkbook. It's that time of year again. Write a check for me for $1,000 to the organization. Minimums become maximums. There are many people that don't have the ability to give that $1,000 a year gift or a $500 a year gift or whatever the minimum is. And there are many that are able to give more than what your minimum might be. Linda was telling a story in our master class recently where she every year was giving $250 to an organization, and she did it. And they sent her a letter and asked her for a gift of $30. And she thought about it and said, well, if they're not going to take the time to research and ask me for the right level of giving, and she wrote them a check for $30. Minimums are a cheap, easy shortcut to doing the important work of developing a culture of philanthropy. Okay, let's move on. Their personal values should I just moved that because I know it's going to freeze if I don't move that thing a lot. Their personal values should line up with that of your organization. Now, Jim made a great example. Some of us have faith-based organizations, and that doesn't necessarily mean that everybody in there has to have faith to participate and volunteer in your organization or the same faith of you. There are other faiths out there that they're important. And but you want to personally agree with what your organization stands for. I have one organization we work with, and it just so happens that everybody on the board is a vegan. And I said, but okay, but are we going to make that a requirement for new board members? I think we might be kind of cutting off our, what's that term? Cut off your nose, spite your face, or whatever the heck it is, to bring in people that are non-believers and people that are non-vegans, whatever it is to your organization. And we have an opportunity to educate them about what our values are. That might be your mission, right? Board members should be assigned major responsibilities and are regularly educated about what your nonprofit is doing to meet your mission. This is kind of a major biggie to me. I have seen so many nonprofit development staff and program staff that are not allowed to go to the board meeting. I think we should encourage staff to go to the board meetings and tell these people what's happening within the mission of the organization. They serve on a rotational basis and volunteer for task force committees and assignments. I am a believer in, no, I think everybody should serve on a rotational basis and they should have terms. And by the way, I have a sample board member job position description I can send you guys after this if you're interested. But sometimes they term out and they have to rotate off. And I know some people are big believers in, we should, get them and have them for a certain amount of time and let them go, and they can come back a year later. I have an example of the Red Cross in Long Beach that I was a consultant of mine many years ago. And Jim, the people involved in this. Long Beach was a Navy town. This is the Red Cross that serves military families. And we had the Admiral's wife, Admiral Higginson's wife, was on the board of directors, and her term came up. And they said, thank you for, and handed her a nice plaque. And my gosh, she was the Admiral's wife, and the board chair did everything. And just really one of those volunteers that like Jim was talking about that you really, your organization just really needs and seeks these people. And what happened? Well, I don't know if she got her feelings hurt or whatever, but she moved on and never became a volunteer with the Red Cross ever again after that story. And she found other organizations to give her time, talent, and treasure to. So I'm not a big fan of we all must leave the board at any one particular time. There are ways to take the dead wood and remove them from your board and trim the vine a little bit so it grows better. I'm going to hopefully, how are we doing on time here? Okay, I've been going for an hour. I'm going to try to move fast because I want to get you guys to ask questions. And of course, our board members should be recognized for their generosity. We want 100% of the board making an annual gift and special gifts to things that are meaningful to them. $5 a month might be meaningful to one board member, where another one, maybe it's $50,000 a year. I do, by the way, believe that in pledges, during our annual, I like the annual campaign, your community support campaign should be held at the beginning of the year. Why? I'm going to take a pause here and see if anybody's still breathing. Oh my gosh, we've lost a bunch of people. It's Natasha, Josephine, Trey, and myself. Yep, thank you. Come back, let me know I'm still talking to somebody. I'm going to at least, we're recording this so others can watch it. What was I talking about? Oh man, I was really getting into something good. They're recognized. That meaningful gift to them. And that goes back to those minimums become maximums kind of thing that we were talking about. There are people out there that can. Oh, why do we want to do the campaign at the beginning of the year? Wasn't that what I was talking about, Trey and Natasha? Yes, thank you. I get a little ADD when I do these things, and I'm so passionate about what I'm doing. I call it shark attack mode, and my eyes roll back into my head, and I start talking, and I forget where I'm at, and I wake up and I was like, did any blood? Did anybody get hurt? I like community volunteer-led, staff-managed community support campaigns held at the beginning of the year. Why? One, I'm going to get them to, before they anybody else want to get them to ask and make a pledge to support our organization before the other kids too in the neighborhood, right? And I want them to be able to pay that via a pledge. And so somebody that's going to write you a check, and if they write you a check, direct mail or on those online giving things, and it's $100, if you develop a relationship with that person, that can be $100 a month and paid over. Now, I like campaigns should be held in February and March, so they have, if they're a February campaign, they've got 10 months to pay that, and it's $1,000 gift. The other thing is I like those campaigns to be held at the beginning of the year. Why? Because we don't want to send them any direct mail or any other appeals, so they can write a check to you for $25 and psychologically they have given for the year. We know the best way. There's a lot of ways to get people to give face to face from one volunteer, somebody they know, they respect. That is the number one reason people give money to a nonprofit, is because somebody asked them to give. I also believe that we should be asking volunteers to give at our same level of giving. It is hard for me if I give $500 a year to an organization to ask somebody else to give $50,000. General rules of thumb that this is Rob's law of fundraising that I like to share with people. Very important that annual get them out of that passive level of giving into that active level of where we develop relationships with people and ask them one-on-one. I also hate these giving events. You ever hear of these events? People say these great, and we bring everybody down into the room at the same time, and the kids do an inspiring thing, and some kid hands them an apple, and we have a breakfast, and then we say, okay, everybody pick up the pledge card in front of you and let's fill it out and put it in. Oh, no, that's not personal. That is just shortcuts for lazy people. This is really important, and this is stuff that most nonprofits just aren't doing. All right, I'm going to go in here in a second and hit screen share and get going. I just wanted to see if anybody was still listening to me. All right, we're going to hit here. Let's find the slide we were on. We were somewhere here in board development, weren't we? Here's the slide I want to go to next. Oops, wrong one. I think I beat that dead horse to death. Okay, I like big boards. I once did a video where with a bunch of people watching, and I actually sang the song. I like big boards and I cannot lie. Those other consultants can't deny. And I went into this whole long thing. Anyhow, in 2010, the average size of a nonprofit board was 16 members. Larger organizations with budgets over 10 million had an average of 18 members, while smaller organizations under $1 million typically had 14, maybe or less. Okay, so since larger organizations have bigger boards, and it makes sense to us that if we want our organization to grow and be larger, we need to increase the size of our board of directors. And I suggest the ideal size to be 25 to 30 people on the board. And many people, freak out when I tell them this, but this is my belief. But the reason many of the people like small boards is we say the vast majority of the decision-making process should be done by your executive committee. How do you make decisions with 25, 30 people in the room? Executive committee makes it does all the hard work, makes a recommendation to the board. The board can vote on it in a consent calendar. They can vote for everything in one. They can pull consent calendar items and talk about them. But that way the board's not doing the micromanaging of the work, and half of the time should be spent talking about ratifying agendas and making motions and doing all that Robert's Rule of Order board stuff, and the other half of the time should be listening to your staff talk about the great things they're doing in the community. They should be listening and talking about board development. How do we recruit others, and fundraising, and what's going on with the committees? Oh my gosh, the biggest asset in the world is your mindset. And I wouldn't be a good coach if I didn't talk about some of this hippy dippy power of the universe stuff. Did any of you guys watch the movie The Secret?
I remember watching it.
Okay, we got somebody that watched. Thank you somebody for talking to me. That is a great movie, by the way, and it is a real thing. And it is, and if our mindset is going, oh my God, fundraising is drudgery, the staff are going to get that, and the board members are going to feel that. And the last thing we want is a mindset or a culture where people are, okay, guys, it's that time of year again. We all got to write our checks. No. This is too important to have the mindset that we are going to succeed. We're going to develop this culture of philanthropy. I actually have, this is something we did in our nonprofit campaigns community on Facebook a while back. And it's the 30-day challenge to achieve fundraising success, any success really in your life. And it's based on a recording by Earl Nightingale called The Magic Word. This was recorded in 1962. And Earl Nightingale is kind of the father or the grandfather or the godfather of that personal development movement. And a lot of what, I didn't realize this, but a lot of what I do as a consultant and coach for nonprofits is teaching people this mindset. And I got to have coaches and consultants teach me this. I mean, I had a bad day yesterday, right? I thought I was going to have to call the paramedics to get the defibrillator out when I couldn't get all of our webinar stuff to work. And I mean, we only got a few people here, but at least it's working, man. I feel great today. I'm going to send you guys all this. It's a 30-minute, 25-minute recording. In 1961, there were albums on them back there. Basically, Earl Nightingale took Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich, and took it and put it on albums. And so when I was a little kid, people were listening to the success stuff on albums. It is still true today, just as important as it used to be. I'll send that out to everybody. All right. Now we're going to talk about creating that successful community support campaign. We talked about that it should involve all your board members. And I just happen to have job descriptions and everything you need for creating that campaign. It's something that we do this for a living. And I tell you, most nonprofits, they just don't know that there's something other than writing grants and having special events and all this stuff that attract individuals and cultivate them into major givers for your organization is so important. Wow, look at that. We are here to help. And now I'll come back to this masterclass that we're doing. It starts November 3rd. We've got registrations on our website right now. The masterclass is $249. Again, I just finished one. Heather, I had to leave earlier. Heather was in our first masterclass. We started on September 15th and we just finished on October 20th. And it was a phenomenal success. This is one of the screenshots of one of our classes where we're just chatting away and having a good time. And all these people, what I thought was really cool about this is all these people have bonded now. And they're like, I took a class called Leadership Long Beach, and that was the class of 96. And everybody in that class, we're like best friends, man. We all grieve over each other's losses and celebrate each other's victories. And we've been, dear friends since 1996. That same camaraderie is going on in this 6-week masterclass. It's interactive. It's fun. Of course, I always want to know the opinion of our masterclass people. And just like you guys, I'm going to ask you to, go to Facebook, go to Google, tell me what you think of this webinar. Your opinion matters. It just so happens that I've taken some of the people that from our last masterclass, Stephanie Cervantes, one of our a founder and CEO, much similar to you guys. This was her, wonderful thing she had to say, and she wrote that on Google and YouTube and not YouTube, but Facebook, wherever you go do those things. I want to say thanks to Stephanie Cervantes for that wonderful recommendation. Leslie Smith from Long Beach, who run my hometown, runs McCormick LA Public Relations, also had a very good thing. I got to teach her more than 20 years ago, and she was the volunteer chair of the YMCA. And once again, volunteer at the YMCA. We became friends. I served as their city councilman for a while. My kids babysat their kids. These are the kind of relationships that come out of developing with our donors and volunteers. Laura Lee, this is this is a Maui nonprofit. I happen to be on Maui. Most of the people in our master class were from all over the United States, but this is a 5-star review from Laura Lee, founder and president of Leilani Farm Sanctuary here on Maui. And boy, I think we're getting close to the end of this thing. And I want to ask, I have free gifts for you for attending this webinar. And we'll send it out to the people that tried to attend yesterday as well. I'm offering a free 30-minute consultation with you guys where we can discuss privately your goals and your objectives and your challenges when it comes to fundraising. So, kind of get you, after 30 minutes, I can evaluate and figure out where you're at and give you some suggestions on where to go. And we talked about this earlier. This is the original class that I had first created on how to create your own annual support campaign and prepare for that success. It has everything in it. And I'm trying to encourage people to sign up for the 6-week masterclass for $249. That's $41.50 a class. And so we're going to give you this course free because the masterclass is where, that's that middle. Some of you guys can't afford one-on-one consulting, but and you want more interaction than our online training, pre-recorded online training courses offer. That is where this master class comes in, and that's how I keep from living on a tent on the beach here in Maui, and that's what we do for a living. But I want to give you this class for free just for signing up because I'm cool like that. All right, this is our nonprofit campaigns community on Facebook. I encourage you to join facebook.com/groups/nonprofit campaigns community and inspiring fundraising success. Please join, please participate. Lastly, during the pandemic, almost lastly, I might have another slide or two. During the pandemic, I went out and looked for, we decided that these virtual campaigns are going to be how we do things, right? And I'm looking forward to the day, as most of you, that we can get and do our special events in person in front of people again. However, I think for the rest of our lives, virtual hybrid campaigns are going to be a thing. We can do the special event there and we can include all these other people online. I was by the way, I think most of these virtual campaign platforms are boring and suck, but I found FunDuel, which is engaging and I can share that with you. Maybe I'll send you guys all a video on that later so you can check out FunDuel. Oh my gosh, here's another offer. Linda has, I think, 11, 12 courses on our website right now. They are all available for 20% off during the rest of this month. Expires October, Halloween, I believe it is. And there's a coupon code if you want to purchase one of those courses. You put Web 2021. I just happen to be the Web, WEBB, and that's the coupon course on our website, nonprofitcampaigns.com. Oh my gosh, we did it. I think we're done. I'm going to stop sharing and answer your questions. How about that? We got 3 people left. After yesterday, a very humbling experience for me, where it took me a little while to get that attitude that I wanted to have back up. Trey, thank you. Natasha and Josephine, thank you for putting up with me. There's a comment here from somebody. I'm just reading it.
Yeah, I think for me, I just wanted to make sure you had my contact info.
I do. Yeah, I think we sent you an email about this today. By the way, that was a glitch in our constant contact. We used Webinar Jam. You guys all signed up. Oh my gosh, like 50 people signed up for this webinar on Webinar Jam. And we're sending out all these emails to everybody thinking you're getting them because webinar jam, there's a connection thing there where all of them are supposed to go to our constant contact. So what did we do yesterday when we had to change to Zoom? We just, how do we do this quick? We'll just go to constant contact. We'll send it to everybody on our universe. And it turns out everybody got it except for the people that signed up for the webinar. My apologies. I went down last night and I typed all your names in to our constant contact. Sometimes technology works. Yesterday was just one of those days I wanted to go back to bed. Questions from Trey, Natasha, and Josephine. Anybody got a question for me?
Well, you were asking about, is fundraising drudgery? I wouldn't say it's drudgery. It's just scary,
Yeah. And once again, a lot of it has to do with, we need to be armed with the tools of what we're doing, right?
Yeah.
And so many people, let me talk about the ask for a minute, right? Because so many people have, when we're children, do your children have a problem asking for anything? And I think sometimes us as parents stifle that. And we say, don't ask for this, or stop asking for that. Or, we subconsciously we do. I say the things my parents said to me, God forbid. There's a lot of things my parents said to me and taught me that I love. And there's some of those things I just thought, man, we got to break the chain, dude. We can't be doing this anymore. And so we, as kids, we come out of the womb curious, asking questions, whatever it is that we want, we ask for. And then we get into these paradigms that we learn when people tell us, don't talk about money, and don't ask people how much they make, and don't ask people for money. And there's a right and a wrong way to ask people for money, right? We got to develop a relationship with somebody before we ask them for money. You don't want to be that guy that you just meet and you haven't developed a relationship with them yet, and they ask for $20 for gas to get home. We get to develop a relationship with me, and then I'll loan you some money if I can, right? Or give it, whatever the case is. I think you get that point. We need to, our fear of asking, our love for the nonprofit and the mission we're doing has to be greater than our fear of asking. The other thing I tell people is, and by the way, we talk about all that hippy dippy, universe and, positive thoughts and all that stuff. One of those gurus in that, Jack Canfield and Mark Victor Hansen, they wrote a book called Chicken Soup for the Soul. And many years ago, when I was a city councilman in Long Beach, I was asked to be a guest speaker at the youth center of the county housing projects in my district in Long Beach. And I told Mark Victor Hansen, and I haven't had a chance to talk to Jack about this story, but when we had a really great hour and a half chat, and when I was talking to all the kids afterwards, the kids gave me 2 books. And it was The Power of Focus, and it was another one by Jack Canfield and Mark Victor Hansen. And they changed my life. And I love telling the story of how the kids at the housing project. Now, by the way, if you're from Chicago or something and you look at the LA housing project, you think you're in, a country club, right? They're pretty good. And I literally, enjoyed going in and working with these kids. They gave me 2 books that forever changed my life. Had a chance to tell that story to Mark Victor Hansen. He wrote a book recently with his wife, Crystal, called Ask: The Bridge Between Your Dreams to Your Destiny. I recommend, and Mark, I told him we're gonna do a training together on how to teach volunteers and staff how to ask for the gift. If you go out, let's say we've got, we put together a campaign of people, and they all go out and they tell their story of why they passionately support your organization, and give them their elevator pitch of what this organization is doing, why we support it, and asking others to join at that level of giving and make a pledge to support the organization. If they tell you no, you got to be, that's okay, because what we've done is just provided the absolute best form of advertising known to man. Word of mouth advertising from one person to another is the best form of advertising there is. And, you know, if they say no, okay, well, that's cool. You know, maybe I can invite you to an event sometime, or come take a tour and see what the kids are doing, or, you know, let's show you what we're, you know, how we're feeding people in the community and what we're doing. That should be our mission. And sometimes people tell you, no, that's all right.
Yeah. Have to get over the fear of rejection.
Yeah. It takes me a while, and so when I started getting out of the one-on-one coaching thing and going into online training and creating these 6-week master classes, which are just wonderful, I had to stop and look at myself for the same thing. I'm doing all this free stuff, but it's like, it's okay for me to ask people to join and sign up, because we're giving value for this $250, and you're gonna get way more out of it than you're gonna pay to be in a master class. But I had a hard time asking for people to sign up and join us. All right, we got 4 minutes left. Natasha, how you doing down there? You having fun yet? You're still muted, so all I see is your lips moving. Trey's moving around. It's getting late. I think she's heading. I don't know if are you in the office, by the way, Natasha and Trey, or are you in
No,
home?
I'm home.
What did you think of the class?
Oh, it was very informative. It's different for I'm just trying to embrace everything and trying to get the fundraising and the ask, because the rejection is like trying to embrace the rejection, because I asked, the mission and the passion is there. I mean, people will invite you, invite me personally. You know, they know about my organization because I've been operating out of donated space for about 7 years. And it's not that they don't know that I'm making a big impact in the community, because we're more than a hunger relief organization. We provide free clothing and outreach referral resources, where we refer our clients to other organizations. But it's just the competition. It's just so much competition with the other larger, I guess, nonprofits and everything. But it's when you hear about the larger like food banks and everything, where they have all the lights, camera, and everything, saying we're short on food and this and that. It's like, we're like the small businesses and everything, like, hey, we're here trying to make an impact as well. It's like we're placed on the back burner. So it seems like it's hard trying to get the attention of the larger donors. It's even harder than before, trying to get the attention of the larger donors, and trying to get what you need to make a even bigger impact in the community. So I'm just it's my passion, my mission, it's my foundation. So it's it's something that I'm going to do, continue my own personal legacy. But it's just hard when you're trying to meet the need of the individuals that's struggling, when there's help near. But it's just
We are here, and the class of members will be here to help you with that journey and do it. Yeah,
right.
You're right. No, I didn't say this is easy. But there is a plan that we can work with you and help you with to get, and you just go that one step at a time. How many board members do you guys have, Trey and Natasha?
Well, I have 6, so I'm nowhere near the 25, 30. So
yeah, we've got about that average, right? The average of 10, 15. Trey, how about you?
We have about 8.
Okay. Nobody said 3, right? Because 3 is that number we put on, when we fill out our 501c3 and we put 3 people down, and that's not a board. That's people. That's just stuff on a piece of paper. Right. That's your mom. That's your auntie. These are those people, right? What we then we go out and start developing a real board of directors. What I hear founders say a lot is, I don't want to be putting a bunch of people on that board. They might fire me. Yeah. That is the nature of a nonprofit. And these board members have a legal and fiduciary and ethical responsibility to make sure we're following the law and doing things ethical. And I tell I said some founders need to be fired.
Right.
Some people aren't doing the right thing, and that is the way our we've established this. The law has established a board to be that person to make sure that fraud doesn't happen, and we're not doing that everybody's doing the right thing. So okay, so has it happened to people? Yeah, I've known people who got fired. Lick your lumps and move on, I guess. But the next situation is there's a thing called founder syndrome, right? And the hardest thing for the founder is turn the baby over to the babysitter. But as we talked about planned giving, and we know all of our donors are going to die someday, and we don't like to talk about death, right? But that's one thing we all have in common. We're all going to die. So we want these organizations to be sustained after we go. And God forbid, we might want to just retire and relax for a few years before we die and go travel and have fun a little bit. And sustainability it's important to develop those boards and those relationships and have that. So this system is going to continue on after we are gone. I want nonprofit campaigns to be run by my son after I'm gone. So that poor kid is, nobody ever grew up in this world wanting to be a fundraiser. I've never met one, but my son watched me do it. He might be the one, and he's going to take over this someday. And then my grandson, we're telling him, man, I said, this is your thing. You're going to be the guy, dude, doing this someday. And I want it to continue on. And that's our legacy. Right. And so that's why we're here doing it. Founders are amazing people, but sometimes we got to learn how to get out of our own way and grow things. Just the way it is. All right, you guys, thank you so much for being here. Any other comments or questions?
No, I just really enjoyed it, so thank you.
Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Yeah, no, it's fun for me to talk for 90 minutes and have the technology sort of work. This was
fun. We got to interact with you.
Yep. Yeah, I think this is way more fun than webinar jam, where I'm just the talking head and you're chatting away. I'm going to figure out a way to do this more often on Zoom.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Rob.
Trey, thank you. Natasha, everybody else that tuned in earlier and watching this on the replay, thank you. Go to our website, Nonprofit Campaigns. Take a look around, sign in, say aloha. And I will look forward to seeing you all soon. Have a wonderful day.
You sing.